Hey, everybody. It's Why We Love Horror. And I'm John Maher, and that's Abby Brooks, and that's Aaron Brooks. How are you guys doing this week?
We're doing good.
Better than most.
Yeah. This is episode 71 of Why We Love Horror. And it's a anticipated movie. I don't know if it's highly anticipated, or I think people were anticipating it, but they're like scared to say they're anticipating it.
It's January horror for one. It's been recasted for two, which is allowed by Nosferatu, but no one else apparently. And it's Blumhouse.
Yes.
Blumhouse.
If you haven't guessed, we're talking about Wolfman.
What was that thing, Blake?
It sounded like an animal. But I swear to God, it was standing on 2 feet.
Daddy, are we gonna die?
No, it's my job to protect you.
Oh! What's wrong with Daddy? He got sick. Blake, Daddy's scaring me! Blake, stop! Daddy, is that you?
That's the trailer we've all seen 1,000 times. Right off the bat, like it's Blumhouse. All right, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. And I don't understand why at this point Blumhouse doesn't know what Blumhouse means when Blumhouse is seen in trailers. They haven't gotten the point yet. I guess they think Speak No Evil just fixed everything.
Yes, we're all better. We released Get Out in 2016.
Yeah. Still, when I see that in trailers, I still cringe, and I still think the movie's going to be shit. So it's hard to overcome it, though. Wolfman is way better than Night Swim.
Correct.
Good. Spoiler alert. No spoiler for that. But yes, this year's Blumhouse January release is a rapid improvement.
It is much better.
But I want to stay off the bat because it is going to become apparent early on. I was more of a fan of this movie than the general consensus, to say the least. I'm trying not to just judge it by it being better than most Blumhouse movies. I think that's not really a fair metric at this point because that's beyond a low bar for me. So, like, if the movie's competent, but just in general, I tried to take the Blumhouse of it all out of it here, especially once I started getting along with the movie. I felt it wasn't a typical Blumhouse. Like, I don't think this is the most creative, original movie of the year.
Right. I think, and I'll kick it back over to Abby in a second. I think, like, they didn't mess with Leigh Whannell too much, but I think they still messed with him a little bit. Abby?
They did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think the thing that keeps this movie away from being like the Night Swims or the Imaginaries is Leigh Whannell's direction of the movie, honestly. I think he really elevates it, and there's just a whole lot of little things that, like, even I noticed. And it just made it a whole lot better. I think that there was some really good tension, especially I think with Christopher Abbott as well. I think he also elevated this movie as well and made it a little bit more than like your typical Blumhouse movie as well. Because I was watching this and I was like, maybe in the beginning when they're in, I don't know what city they live in, but
it's not like New York, but then how would they drive from New York to Oregon? I don't know.
That's what it felt like. But yeah, when they were in whatever city they live in, I feel like that felt a little Blumhousey. Some of the dialogue, it just felt very, I don't know. I don't know if obvious is the right word, but it just felt like
by the numbers.
Yeah. That's probably the most Blumhousey it felt for me.
I'm not really spoiling the movie, but I am going to throw up spoilers right now because I want to get something right out the bat. This isn't really a werewolf movie, is it? Like, it's not. There's no, like, I mean, I guess it is, But like the mythos of werewolves is not. This is reinventing that. I give that as a huge plus because it's not really like, oh, you were attacked by a werewolf and the full moon comes out, you turn into a werewolf and a silver bullet will kill you. Like none of that shit is. This is just like AIDS, basically. You contract it.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, and I don't know. I don't have a problem with that either.
Yeah.
Like, I think we all got really nervous when we saw the Halloween Horror Nights a few months ago, where they're showing the design of the wolf. And frankly, when they did see the full design of the wolf, not my favorite part. Like with Nosferatu, my favorite part of Nosferatu is not the design of Nosferatu. I can understand why Rob Savage and Boogeyman did what he did with Boogeyman. Like, even though that was a cool monster, if the more you see a monster, the less cool it's going to be. And with the Wolfmen that we've seen in the past, ever since the 1940s version or whatever year it came out, I don't think any of them have been great. Like going to Mike Nichols' Wolf with Jack Nicholson or
Dog Soldiers would like a word.
Dog Soldiers is fine, I guess. But like, it's like American Werewolf in London was an anomaly. Okay. Every other werewolf transformation is not American Werewolf in London. And I think that the design was good enough in this movie. I feel like the body horror slow transformation was the right approach. I see a lot of people being like, it's really slow, nothing's happening. I'm sorry, it's not a TikTok video. I'm sorry that it doesn't turn and then become a wolf that goes through the streets of, I don't know, Oregon or Eugene, Oregon or something. I don't know.
Definitely in the parts of Oregon where no one lives. That's
yes, which is a lot of Oregon. That's plenty of Oregon. I believe that. They went the small approach with this movie, and it's essentially a three-handed movie with a few cameos by a wolf that is very clearly the father from the beginning. And we'll talk about the choice when we get to it, because
we're going to come back to this discussion. I disagree.
Yeah, we will talk about that. That's one of the places.
I think we know it's the father. I think we know.
I think Leigh knows too. It's the father. Yeah. But
do I think would they think the horror going populace knows it's the father? No,
I heard people chattering. We'll get back to it, but yeah, I just with the overall approach. Julia Gardner, is it Julia?
Julia Gardner, yeah.
Julie Gardner.
Julia Gardner.
Julia Gardner. Okay, Julia Gardner. I saw her in Apartment 7A. I'm one of the people who watched that movie. American Horror Story presents Rosemary's Baby. There's your review. But she's just not. She doesn't quite work for me, if I'm being honest, including in this movie. I think that she is a well-trained actress. I think she knows how to do the acting things, but she always just sticks out as a person who doesn't feel like a real person in the world she's trying to be in, even in movies where I like her. So in spite of her, I felt that the child actress was very good in this movie. Ginger, nice little wink to Ginger Snaps, probably, or not. And then I am Christopher Abbott's #1 fan. So honestly, whatever he does, I'm going to at least mildly enjoy. I thought he was a great choice for the lead, though. I think he does an excellent job in the lead role here, as, essentially what the thesis of this movie is, which is protect your own. That's like the whole theme that ends up coming up from throughout this movie. And I think he's just great as the father at the beginning. He makes his goofy dad jokes, and it feels a little more organic than a typical Blumhouse film.
Honestly, the one thing about this movie that it kind of hits me is he's such a good dad, and he gets it's fucking horrible what happens to him, because it's usually especially in a Blumhouse movie, good people win in Blumhouse movies.
Right.
But wow, what a straying from form for Blumhouse.
Yeah, exactly.
Legitimately good character. Nothing's wrong with this dude, and the absolute worst possible thing happens to him.
And I think that, and I'll let Abby kind of get her second thoughts in here. But I think that they did a good job of bringing you into that perspective with the Lycan vision, which I get was used a little bit too much, but the purpose of it was really, really, I think, effective because it brought you directly into the perspective of his character. And you could still see that was the last shred of humanity he was going to let go. And they did it without hitting you over the head or finding some Ann Dowd cut type character to show up in the movie and explain everything to the audience. They don't explain it. They show it. And they show it multiple times and really effectively, I think, at first with that. So, I mean, Christopher Abbott and Leigh Whannell, as Abby said, saved the movie for sure. And that was what the focus of the movie was Christopher Abbott. So I'm failing to kind of see these gigantic criticisms that people have with this movie, calling it just like a 2 or less. I just don't get that. I don't. This is much too quality for that, in my opinion. It might be bland to some, but I think it's more simple is what people are meaning to say. And
it is simple, but we'll get there. Abby, what are your second thoughts?
Well, no, this definitely is not like the best movie that's going to come out this year, but I think that people are being a little bit too hard on it. And I think where that comes in, I did say that Leigh Whannell is probably the best, like his direction is the best part of the movie, but he also was a writer. And I think some of the writing is probably where people are a little bit frustrated or think it's a little bit bland or they're not getting fulfillment out of it, especially out of the characters. I didn't particularly mind the characters. I think that, again, the very first scene, by the way, I think it was a really good starting scene where you see the Christopher Abbott character as like a younger kid and his relationship with his dad. And they kind of go a little bit into there's some type of creature in the woods, but again, they don't give you too much detail. I don't think they really needed to. But I think that whole sequence in the beginning was really well directed and just kind of sets what the movie is ultimately going to be about. And then again, like some of the New York stuff, and then they end up in the situation that they're in where the wolf kind of gets them, they have to retreat to his old house. When they get to that part, I think there's a lot less dialogue and a lot less development, which I think is where a lot of people have the problems. Again, I didn't really mind because I don't know. I just didn't have a problem because I liked the characters enough. But if I had to maybe guess where people are having their issues, that's probably where it is.
Yeah, my issue, and this is we can talk about it now, is and Aaron says it's not a twist, but I think it's a twist because the score and the way it's shot it's a twist because the characters don't realize it until that point in time. Even though if you're paying attention to fucking anything, you know what's going on.
Why would the characters know this is a twist? Of course it is. Go ahead.
Yeah, but like the dad has been missing, and that's why they inherit this house. But anybody with a brain, most non-Blumhouse fans know the dad is the wolf thing now, not. He's become the wolf thing, whatever. I guess there can be more than one. I have no fucking idea. But when the family finally realizes it, because it focuses in on his like Marine Corps tattoo is still visible on his arm. It's like, duh, and it's like, yeah, we know. And that's what pissed me off. I was like, we fucking know. And I still enjoyed the movie. I still I hearted it on Letterboxd, but that upset me a lot. Like we knew that. That didn't need to be that way. But that's put there for stupid people. That was there for stupid people. And that bothers me.
Correct. And it was also, if I had to argue with Leigh Whannell, what he was trying to present there is not a surprise to hardcore audience members, at least. Maybe the dumb people who show up, sure. Because I heard whispers behind me when it happened. Oh my God, that's the same tattoo as his father.
I would have said something.
I almost did say something to these people multiple
Why are you here?
I almost did them multiple times, but I decided not to. But trust me, I was close to people. 2 rows behind me, though, said, "This isn't your living room." And like
Sweet.
Then these people were like, "What? I can't believe they said it wasn't our living room." But they were surprised by the twist. In the music, I'd like to argue is just supposed to be from the perspective of the characters finding out this in the moment, because they should have no reason to believe this is Blake's father. That's Blake, Christopher Abbott's character's name. They shouldn't expect it. So
they should if they're intelligent. They should have figured it out.
No, they shouldn't. You're in this situation. You don't know what's going on. Also, the way that Blake becomes like first infected is a really smart way, because it's not like the wolf attacks him. He's attacking the other guy, and just by happenstance, he gets sliced in the arm, which again continues the theme of the father didn't want to harm the son. The son becomes a father, doesn't want to harm his family. And I think that goes well without ever having that Vin Diesel family moment. Like, it's like appreciate, like, this doesn't feel like Blumhouse. This feels like almost they're trying to get it to maybe a Neon or something, and instead they stuck with Blumhouse. But maybe it's a sign that Blumhouse is starting to fix their ways a little bit, and this could be a gateway into Blumhouse making better horror movies. But
I don't know.
Taking the baton from Jagged Edge Productions. Good to see that.
Yeah.
The one other thing I'll say, huge pro for the movie, is the body horror is really well done. It's a lot of the familiar notes, like, oh, he lost a tooth, oh, he lost a fingernail. Fine, cool. But I'm glad Blumhouse is doing it right.
But there's more to it than that. Like, again, it's subtle. But like, I remember there was one point where Christopher Abbott's hair looks bad. I know you can't imagine that ever happening, which is hair that's fabulous in this movie. Also, the kid who is playing Christopher Abbott, I swear they just took a time machine and had Christopher Abbott act the scenes as a child. That kid looks exactly like him. It's insane. But so Christopher Abbott's hair is great in this movie, as it always is. It starts to look like a little bit shitty. Like, as he's starting to transform, he's like has a slight amount of balding. And at first I was just like, oh man, is his hair just like messed up? He's just like me. Like, it just looks a little bit different at some point. But it was like the slow transformation. It was the patience with the body horror that I'm seeing a lot of people point out as a negative. I loved how slow it happened, and it was disgusting. The arm scene when he's starting to eat his arm is disgusting. When he's scratching, I literally had to look away, which I don't know if I've ever had to look away in a Blumhouse movie. Like, when he's
it's a good body horror movie. I think
I love body horror. I love body horror. I don't care how much of this is synonymous with The Fly. I do not think Leigh Whannell just ripped off The Fly and made it a wolf here.
I don't think he did, but I do think that he laid it on pretty thick with some scenes being like parallel to The Fly.
That's fine. Just like The Strangers wasn't the first home invasion movie. This is not the first body horror movie, but it does it really well.
I'm not going to argue there. I'm just saying it's there. It's there.
Sure.
We'll do some final thoughts. Abby, final thoughts before we get to ratings.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with pretty much everything that Aaron said. I think, again, this is not going to be the best movie of the year. I think I was pleasantly surprised again by the negative buzz and just kind of all the negatives that it had going for it. Again, I'm probably one of the biggest like Blumhouse haters at this point. So I really was worried about this movie because of that. But again, I think Leigh Whannell really saved it. Just there's just so many little things he did with the directing. Again, the beginning scene, the different vision. I didn't mind how often. I didn't even think that it was overused, honestly. And I think in particular there was a scene they showed in the trailer, but it's where he's first starting to transform and he's kind of sitting there and it's all dark around him and everything's turning black. I think that's a really cool scene. I like it a lot. But yeah, no, I think this was solid. I think people are definitely being a little too hard on it. So yeah, I think it was pretty good.
Aaron, I'll give you the last word before we jump to ratings.
All right, go ahead, John. Oh, do you not have any final thoughts? It's my
no, I said everything I needed to say.
All right, perfect. Yeah, so I really did enjoy this movie quite a bit. I think that 2 of the 3 leads were excellent. Julia Gardner just doesn't work for me personally. I'm not sure what movie she's going to work for me in. Maybe it will be Fantastic Four. But that was a joke. No, that will not work for me. But with this movie, I think that the simple route really did work well. It reminded me a lot of a 70s movie in a lot of ways, but just with how simple it kept things and it didn't try to expand this lore into making it more than it needed to be. I think it stuck to its themes well. I think the transformation into the wolf was good enough. It wasn't outstanding. It's not the best. And there's also a saw homage in this movie when he chews off his leg, because we cannot chew through our chains. We must chew through our feet. Yes. And there is no way that wasn't, because I've seen about 20 other Letterboxd reviews also point this out. So good job to all our Eagle Eyes Saw fans who know the homage. John did not. So,
I thought it was just like because a wolf will chew through its own leg when it's in a trap. Like, oh, it's a wolf. It's a
it
wolf.
was a Saw homage. It was they like zoomed in on the severed foot on the chain or on the and I liked it because like Leigh Whannell, I enjoy his movies a lot. His Insidious movie was good enough, but it's Insidious. But like upgrade this, this isn't The Invisible Man, but it's almost The Invisible Man for me. I'm not gonna lie, but The Invisible Man is one of the best horror movies of the last few years. Honestly, we don't know how good we had it when we got that. I feel like, and it's really aged well. This, I think, deserves more of a chance from people, and I hope that people slowly kind of accept it for what it is. Christopher Abbott can do no wrong.
I'm gonna start with movie because I know I'm getting just side eye from Aaron all the time about this. I didn't hate this movie. It's just it's just one of the ones I like the least. It's a 3 for me for all the reasons I named. I don't like movies that are marketed to stupid people, which this is. So that's my main criticism. It's not a smart movie on purpose. I think they fucked with this movie in post. It was probably even better.
Yeah.
Love to see the director's cut. I'll probably give the director's cut more than this.
Abby?
Me? I give this a 4 because I do think it's pretty solid. I would definitely watch it again.
All right. Aaron?
And I defend this movie like it's a 5-star movie, 5 videotape movie, but I will be honest and give it a 4 videotapes and a very strong 4 videotapes for me. I do think a director's cut of this would be absolutely welcomed, and it probably is a better movie. But what we have still is one of my favorite Blumhouse movies since Get Out. Invisible Man, if that was also Blumhouse, that's great. So good for them.
And hey, we're still doing the Why We Love Horror Challenge like we always do forever. So it's the second annual Why We Love Horror Challenge in 2025, and we're on week 3, which is a movie that is on Horrorville's top 50 of 2022, 50 movies that they say are great. Aaron, we ended on you, so let's start with you. What movie did you watch from that list?
So I watched a movie I believe you did recommend to me, or I at least spoke to you about after I decided I was going with it. It's Johannes Gressenfernthurner's Masking Threshold.
Fuck yeah.
This movie was insane, and I mean that literally. It's like it's kind of a found footage movie from the perspective of a guy who has tinnitus, which is an hearing the disorder, I believe, and he's doing experiments on like what different things affect his tinnitus, and it's just a slow and rapid descent into madness. This director makes a very specific type of subgenre that I've never seen movies like. We were just talking about how there's a lot of movies like Wolfman in some ways. I don't know if there's any movie like Masking Threshold. It's for a very specific type of fan. I'd say if you don't like found footage, if you don't like psychological existential horror, you should definitely skip this one. If you do, check it out. Check out this and Razin Nest. Both are amazing. I will be watching Solvent, the third in this unofficial trilogy, as soon as I can get my hands on it. But huge recommendation for me for Masking Threshold. It's, I think, on Tubi. So
it's freaking great. Abby?
So I watched probably the highest rated and most popular movie on that list that I haven't seen. I watched Prey, which I thought it was very solid. I did enjoy it. I particularly enjoyed that you really don't have to watch any Predator movies to understand or enjoy this movie, because I have not seen any Predator movies ever.
Going to start on.
Yep.
So yeah, I really thought it was good. I liked the tribe. I liked I liked how the characters worked together. I liked the look of the Predator. I thought that was really cool. So yeah, I liked it.
Awesome. And then ending on me, I watched a movie. I think Aaron's mentioned it at least. All My Friends Hate Me, which just like Aaron said, like it if you take this movie personal, because like I think everyone's felt this way, like where like why is it if you have a friend or if you are the friend that has social anxiety, why do your friends fuck with you? Like, why do they do that? This movie explores that, maybe too much, but I would definitely recommend All My Friends Hate Me. It's pretty good. That'll do it for that. If you made it this far in the video, like, comment, subscribe, and share, and go over to the Why We Love Horror Challenge and join it already. And then let us know what you're watching. Go to the Facebook group at Why We Love Horror. The schedule here is the same. Sunday is Why We Love Horror TV. Monday is Versus. Thursday is this. Friday is Why We Love Horror Trivia. And it's ramping up. It's a new year. Things are getting good. Maybe other stuff will appear on the channel. Who the hell knows? But until next time, I'm John Maher. That's Abby Brooks. And that's Aaron Brooks. And this has been Why We Love Horror.